Hello. So I'm out in my garden right now before the evening sets in. It's dusk and the birds are singing and it's just really beautiful. It's very peaceful, and I wanted to show a couple of my favorite plants that are growing right now that are really, really nice to have this time of year in the springtime when we're sloughing off the doldrums of winter and really just getting super bright with the new springtime. I know that for me, my body's craving a lot of brightness right now, and that it still has a lot of the wintertime heaviness that is really just that my body's still processing. So I'm giving my body a lot of liver support right now. I'm starting the days with celery juice and with a lot of bitters and sour foods. And bitters are really great for stimulating the liver. Sour foods stimulate the gallbladder. So the liver is constantly producing bile, which helps break down fats, and that bile moves from the liver into the gallbladder where it's stored until we need it in the digestion process. So some plants that are really helpful for that digestive process are thistles, which are growing all over the bay right now and all throughout this land. And Oxalis, which is really sour. It's also known as sour grass. And I wanted to show you one of my favorite thistles. It's a very common thistle that's growing around here. This one is known as Bull Thistle. There are many kinds of thistles, and all thistles are really stimulating to the liver. The whole thistle family is stimulating to the liver, from artichokes to sunflowers to milk thistle, to sow thistle, bull thistle. They all have this bitter function that brings about the secretion of digestive juices and juices all over the body. So I'm going to get dandelion is also part of this family. So right now all the bitters are in their leaf phase. They are new. So right here we have a thistle plant. This is the bull thistle. And you can see that the thistles, the spikes on this one are very pronounced. They are really intense. So I'm just gonna access the juicy parts of this plant with my handy dagger. I'm gonna cut it at the base here. This is in my yard, and I know that it's growing in really clean ground. That's really important with what's really important with thistles, that they're growing in clean ground, because in the body they perform similar functions as to what they do in the landscape. They pull up toxins. They really help with regeneration of the liver. When somebody has had a lot of exposure to toxins, environmental toxins, or internal toxins like alcohol, over time the liver becomes taxed, and the liver helps regenerate that organ. So it does the same in the ecosystem. It really pulls up toxins from the land that it's growing in, which is why we can work with sunflowers to repair land that's been compromised, such as old gas stations, or you might find fields of thistle in land that was used as industrial waste sites, etc. So on the hillside here at our house, we have some thistles that I know are growing in really good soil, in soil that hasn't been exposed to a lot of pollution. So I'll take this thistle and I'll come to a more well-lit area so you can see what I'm about to do. It's a little hilly right here. And you can do this with all thistles. You can, I'll show you. I wonder if there's a way for me to flip around. There we go. Flip around the camera. So thistles are really fun, and you can take a knife with you into the field to do a similar experiment to what I'm doing here, where you kind of chop it apart and use your knife to chop off the spikes. So right here, I'm using my handy dandy dagger to chop off the large spikes that are on the sides of the thistle, and this will get me to a really juicy part. You can use many different parts of the thistle. In herbal medicine, we most often work with the seed of the milk thistle plant. The milk thistle is it's the most commonly used thistle family plant, but in a more medicinal way. The seeds are known to regenerate the liver. So if somebody's had liver failure, it can actually bring the liver back to health. But all parts of the thistle are enjoyable if they're prepared properly. So this part is really fun. You can just munch on the stems. But I could just also take this whole piece right here and run it through my juicer and have a really energizing juice. The thing with the thistle that's so awesome is as it detoxifies, it's really energizing. So if I'm thinking of plants that are just going to get me revved and stoked for the springtime, thistle is one of the best allies. It's really, really yummy. And if you find yourself craving artichokes or lots of bitters, if you find yourself feeling sluggish at all, giving yourself bitters will feel amazing. And thistle is one great way to do that. And you can munch on their shoots for a really fun and delicious way to do that. They're really sweet, or artichokes, whatever. So another plant that has kind of started to tuck itself in for the night is this one right here. This is Oxalis, or sour grass. And the leaves look like clover, kind of. They're in heart shapes, 3 leaves. They close up at night. But the whole stem is edible. The flowers are edible, the leaves are edible, and the stalk, of course, is edible. And it's really delicious. Sour flavors are stimulating to the gallbladder, and the gallbladder, as I just said, releases bile into the digestive tract, so it helps digest fats. So as we're wanting to feel really stoked and energized for the springtime, having a lot of sour flavors right now and a lot of bitter flavors will be really, 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 really good for our bodies. They help digest the leftover, the fats that we're eating, and just help that digestive process that is kind of difficult right now, but can use a lot of this really good help. Unfortunately, we have our allies in the natural world that are growing at exactly this right time for us to be in delightful, nourished harmony and feel really, really good. So I hope you guys enjoy and have a most nourished and well flavored, delightful springtime.